So good morning, my name is Ralph Ford. I'm Interim Chancellor at Penn State Barron, and it is my honor this morning to welcome you to the college and to the Samuel Pat Black III Conference Center. As you know, this past spring, Erie Vital Signs became a joint project of the Economic Research Institute of Erie and the Erie Community Foundation. The Economic Research Institute of Erie is itself an outreach center of the Sam and Irene Black School of Business at Penn State Barron, and it was founded way back, Jim, what year? 1982. Hard to believe. It's had a lot of impact, and this is a great new initiative. So like you, I'm anxious to see the efforts of this collaborative venture. In our classrooms, we constantly stress the magnifying effects of collaboration. By sharing talent and resources, collaboration done right maximizes results. I'm pleased today that our students are seeing us practice what we preach. You'll be hearing shortly from actual economists, but as an introduction to the project, I can tell you that Erie Vital Signs is a benchmarking program that tracks the region's performance in 7 key areas. There's no lack of economic information out there. You can find it on the web. But what makes the Erie Vital Signs so important is that its approach and results are tailored specifically to the Erie region. The benchmark data that Erie Vital Signs collects used to be gathered in Pittsburgh, but even that is too far from our unique circumstances. Erie has many challenges to be sure, but it also has many, many strengths to build upon. Not the least of which is that we are a smaller metro area, and we can change our course more quickly if we decide to do so. Erie Vital Signs will act as a data-driven roadmap for this effort, telling us how and where to make those changes. You will meet the map makers through this morning's program. Again, welcome to Penn State Barron. And I hope that you have a chance to walk around campus, drive around. It's a beautiful day, and see this wonderful campus and growing campus that we have. I know that you're anxious to hear more about the new Erie Vital Signs, so I'll turn the podium over now to the president of the Erie Community Foundation, Mike Batchelor. Mike?
Thanks, Dr. Ford, and I really want to thank everybody for coming. This is exactly the sort of turnout that we were hoping for, and we have exactly the sort of people that we wanted to be here. So thank you. There's about 120 reservations. We have 3 trustees of the Community Foundation here, too. I want to thank them. Russ Warner, our chair, Tim Shuttleworth, and Lynn McBriar. Thank them for their support of Erie Vital Signs, please. So today, we're going to unveil a dramatically expanded website that I'm sure is going to be an increasingly important tool for all of you for years to come. But more importantly, we'll be sharing our plans on how we are going to use Vital Signs and how we hope you use Vital Signs to both measure progress and inspire action. The second piece is the most important, inspire action. We've been working on the website, they've been working on the website for the past year, and let me give you just an overview of what's been accomplished. The old site, this is live today, the old site had 40 indicators. The new one has 304 indicators. The old site had no summary of a landing page. You couldn't go to the topic and say, well, gee, what's the overall assessment? The new site has that for each topic area. The old site had 37 graphs. The new site has 211 graphs, and 41 of them are interactive. Actually, 212. You told me you put a new one up last night. So none of this work is done alone. We have 7 topical committees that met many times to help us with this work. Many of them are here, and I believe we've got some of the committee members on a... Great. So we have several committee members and chairs, and if you're here, please stand and let me thank you and recognize you. I think some are here. Great. So very much a team effort. We're proud to partner with the Sam and Irene Black School of Business and the Economic Research Institute of Erie on this project. Erie Economic Research Institute of Erie is nationally recognized for their work in the economy, and now we have their help with Erie Vital Signs. At the direction of their expert committees, they gathered all the data and really made this website work. They're terrific partners, and I really want to thank them for their efforts. So please, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who will share more about the partnership between ECF and Erie. The Director of the School of Business, Dr. Balaji Rajalapan, and the Director of the Economic Research Institute of Erie, Dr. Ken Louie.
Welcome to all of you. It's a wonderful morning here. As Mike said, I'm Balaji Rajagopalan, Director of the Sam and Irene Black School of Business here at Penn State Behrend. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you this morning to learn about the Erie Vital Signs project. Even within a short time, this is emerging as a signature project that exemplifies the academic-industry collaboration that the Black School of Business and the Erie Community Foundation have partnered on. As many of you know, the Economic Research Institute of Erie in the Black School of Business has been a resource for the greater Erie region for many years. As Dr. Ford just mentioned, it was established over 30 years back under the leadership of Dr. Barry Weller, and then continued a great stride under the leadership of Dr. Jim Curry, instrumental in building a great platform for academic industry collaboration. One of the things that we are very proud of is while it did have a great impact as a community resource, it also has a great impact on student learning. One of the recent graduate assistants of the Institute is now employed at Kaiser Permanente doing a similar analysis for the firm. And we have many, many such stories to share. And this is a testament to the value of learning that happens at the Institute. And Dr. Ken Louie continues the excellent work of the Institute in serving the community. Several key individuals made this collaboration on this project of the Erie Vital Signs possible. And I would like to take a minute to recognize them. From the Erie Community Foundation, Mr. Mike Batchelor and George Espy, thank you both. From the Black School of Business, Dr. Ken Louie and Dr. Jim Curry, Director Emeritus of the Economic Research Institute of Erie. We see this partnership as only the beginning of what we expect to be a long-standing relationship between ECF and the Economic Research Institute of Erie in the Black School of Business. And we hope to see many more such projects in the future. I know you're eager to learn a lot more about the Erie Vital Signs, and to do just that, a real economist, Dr. Ken Louie.
Thank you, Balaji. Well, I'm Ken Louie. I'm the Director of the Economic Research Institute of Erie in the Black School of Business here at Penn State Behrend. We are so very pleased this morning and very honored to be the partner with the Erie Community Foundation on this important community project. And we are thrilled, obviously, to welcome all of you to our beautiful campus this morning so that we can share with you all of the exciting features of this new and improved Erie Vital Signs website. From its very humble beginnings over 30 years ago, under the leadership of my esteemed and capable predecessors, Drs. Barry Weller and Jim Curry, the Economic Research Institute of Erie has grown into a respected source of information, data, and analysis for the Erie economy. For Erie Vital Signs, we are pleased to be the source of the collection, analysis, interpretation, and updating of all of the relevant data. We've already released several reports based on the data that are available on Erie Vital Signs, and we will continue to issue similar special reports in the future. So I hope you will all look forward to reading those special reports that will feature interesting perspectives about our region. Our research assistants have worked very, very hard to make sure that the data that you'll be seeing today, along with some very clear and visually appealing charts and graphs, have all been organized and updated to provide users, folks like you, users of the site with the most up-to-date, accurate, and clearly presented information about our community. We hope that community leaders such as yourselves will use this website and all the information that is there to guide you towards more informed and fact-based decision-making. At this time, I want to acknowledge the tremendous and diligent work provided by our research assistants. I think some of them are here, so I'd like to ask them to stand as I read their names, and we'd like to recognize all of their contributions to the success of this project. Alyssa Craig, who is our graduate research assistant in our MBA program, Josh McLear, Tosa Luz, Marissa Baker, Natalie Salashko, Phil Shank, And I also want to acknowledge Dr. Kathy Nose, who along with Phil Shank assisted us with the technical parts of the website and the interactive graphics. So please join me in giving them a wonderful round of applause. I also want to thank especially my colleague and good friend, Dr. Jim Curry, who is a full-fledged partner with the Economic Research Institute of Erie and the Erie Community Foundation on this important project. And of course, I want to thank Mike Batchelor and all of his colleagues, George Espy, Aaron Fessler, Rachel, many others, at the Erie Community Foundation. They have all been very wonderful to work with, and I'm confident that our community will reap the benefits of their vision and initiative in establishing this Erie Vital Signs program. Thank you all again for taking time out of your busy schedules this morning to attend this event. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague, Dr. Jim Curry, Director Emeritus of the Economic Research Institute of Erie, who will provide you with some great examples of what's on the new Erie Vital Signs website and how you can navigate through it. Thank you.
It's good to be back on the stage again after being away for a while. I have to apologize because the bug decided yesterday would be a good day to strike me. I have a conference out of town this weekend as well, so Murphy's Law strikes again. But it falls to me to give you an overview of what's on the website, and we're pretty proud of this. There's a lot there. As Mike mentioned, there's over 300 indicators, and we're going to go through every one. It'll take about 15 minutes for each indicator, so you might want to rearrange your schedules a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to give you a taste of what's up here, with the idea being to tantalize you a little bit, and hopefully you'll want to come back and see some more of what's out here. So let's start with the home page. When you go to, the website is very easy to remember, erievitalsigns.org. That's a hard one to forget, erievitalsigns.org. You click on that, you get the home page that you've got here. And there's some interesting things here right away. We've got a set of community goals, which is a crucial thing. One of the things that we do is we provide the data on this website, but what are we trying to do in the community? And so we've got here links to Emerge 2040, the Destination Erie project, the goals that came out of that. We have here Erie Together, doing great work in the local community, very important work, fighting poverty and encouraging self-sufficiency. United Way of Erie County. So all of these are clickable links. You can go straight through to their sites and see the connections. You'll also see connections as we go through the site to those goals as we go along. We have some other things on the home page. Up here we've got the Community Foundation grants. And so you can click here and you can see the kinds of things that the Community Foundation is doing in the local area. Over here, by category, the kinds of grants that the Community Foundation is funding with community funding to help improve things in the local area. So lots of interesting information here on Community Foundation as well. And if you go down the page, you see some other interesting things. We'll talk about this in a minute. They had a dead spot here and they had to put something there, so that's what they wound up with. But as Ken mentioned, we're doing some special reports. And so we've got about 4 of these done so far, and they're all here. Back in February, we kicked off the partnership right before Valentine's Day, so we did a report on reasons to love Erie, trying to find a connection to the data. We've done a Mother's Day report, we've done a graduation or an education report, and for Labor Day, we did a report on labor and employment in the local area. We'll have several more of these coming out as we go along. And these are lots of interesting statistics. Oxymoron, right? Except what we're trying to do is make these readable. We throw in some humor, we try to make them a little upbeat so they're readable. Quiz format sometimes. Go check them out. You might find some things interesting. Unusual, arcane facts that'll make you the life of the next party. Okay, that's been my experience. Econ stats really get you off to a good start at a party. But we've got a broad range. This website is about data, and here are the areas. There's 7 different areas here, and let's just pick one at random. What should we pick? Oh, let's pick the economy. So we've got under the economy, we've got a range. We've got 6 different areas. And in each of these cases, you'll see there are a range of families of data. So let's just start off with one. What you get when you click on economy is you get the landing page that Mike mentioned. And the landing page gives you a quick overview of what's going on in that field, economy. There's a lot to summarize, but in a paragraph or two, are things getting better? Are they getting worse? What are the significant things that we see here? There's a representative graph, in this case, median income. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then as you scroll down, you see the actual indicators under that section. So again, there are 6 families. Each indicator has an arrow, up, down, or sideways, to very quickly give you an idea how we're doing. Is it mostly red? Is it mostly green? Is it mostly yellow? I should mention that the arrows don't necessarily mean up or down. They mean getting better, getting worse. And so, for example, one of our indicators is the unemployment rate. So you got an up arrow. That doesn't mean the unemployment rate is going up. That means it's going down, it's getting better. So in all these cases, the arrow means it's improving or it's not doing as well as we would like. So you see that all of these are clickable. If you go on down the list, you find the actual subcommittee, the chair of the committee and the members of the committee. These are the people to blame if things aren't like what you like, all right? We also have over here the contact information for the chair of each committee. If you've got some suggestions about things that you think should be added or some things aren't quite right, contact the committee chair and they can come into the next committee meetings. Over here on the right side, we've got the family of indicators, but we've got them listed over here again for you. But then we've got community goals. And so here, this is the economy section. And so here we've got a link directly to Emerge 2040 for the economy goals. So that'll be on the different pages as well, if you want to see how it ties into the efforts that are going on in the community. Erie Together, their goals. We also have, we tried to put together a document where you can download quickly all of the indicators from that section and get a quick overview. This is definitely a work in progress. This website is not done, and it's never going to be done if we do the job right. And so here we've got where we are right now, what the indicators are if you want to take that away. If you're going on a flight and you want something to read to help you sleep, these are the kind of things to go for. We also have then website links to different organizations, different connections that we think are relevant for this area. So that's what a landing page looks like. Each of the 7 areas will have that as an overview, a good place to start. So let's talk a little bit about some of the indicators. Let's go to income. I'm going to pick out median household income. This is one of our new indicators. Up arrow. At the top, again, recent performance, so you get a few sentences, a paragraph or two, giving you a quick overview. Don't try to read it at this point, just kind of give you a quick one, come back later. But now we've got a graph. And so what you see on the graph is this. Here's Erie. We're very consistent in our colors, in fact. So the red lines are almost always going to be Erie. And so right away you can see where Erie is and what we're doing. The blue line is the US, so we've got a comparison with how we're doing compared to the US. And right away you see the story that the median incomes in Erie are quite a bit below the national ones. We also have the Pennsylvania data. That's our green lines, and you can see PA and US are pretty close to each other. And then we have this orange, it's showing up here as kind of a yellow line. That's our peer areas. Early on in the process for Erie Vital Signs, committees picked 13 metro areas around the country to be peers that we're going to compare ourselves to. All right, things are getting better, things are getting worse. But yeah, during a recovery from a recession, everybody's unemployment rate goes down. But is ours going down faster or more slowly? So we need to look at some other areas. So we've got 13 areas, you'll be seeing those in a minute, that we compare ourselves to. Some are like us, some are aspirational. Boulder is one of our 13 peers. We would like to be like Boulder in many situations, not always, but in many. We also have places like Flint, Michigan as one of our peer areas. We don't want to be like Flint or Laredo, Texas, all right? But there's 13 in there. There's a document on the site, too, that tells you a little bit about the peers, where they are, what their sizes are, how they compare to Erie in some demographic terms. So you'll be seeing those as we go through. The 13 metro areas we look for whenever we can get the data. We can't always. In some cases, we switch to different peers depending on the data, and I'll show you some examples of that too. So here we've got data going back, in this case, to 2005, with the earliest data we could get, census data, American Community Survey. Here, though, we've adjusted it. So this is nominal dollars, just the regular old dollars that the data are reported in. But if you remember your econ class, you have to adjust for inflation. And so here it is in real data. And look at the difference. This is one of the upgrades to the website. Before we had the data that were there. Now we've gone through and adjusted most of the dollar amounts for inflation. And you see a very different story. Nationally, yeah, we had the recession hit us, but then incomes are up and they're higher. But once we factor inflation in, we see the story is not quite so happy. In Erie, again, we've seen some downturns, a little bit of an upturn at the end. So we've adjusted. Again, one of the changes, one of the additions that we've done. On a typical indicator then, you're also going to see some cross-sectional data. Two basic types of graph. Time series, how are we doing through time? Cross-section, how we do compared to other places. And so here's a typical cross-section graph with our 13 metro areas. Again, the red one is Erie, it jumps out at you. The yellow or orange one is our peer areas, green for PA, blue for the US, and then the other peer areas. And you can see this is a bit interactive. As you go over, it'll show you. In this case, we've actually got the numbers here, but not all of them do, as you'll see in a minute. So we've got that. We've got some other graphs on here. Here's the percent change in income, just from 13 to 14, if you want to know about recent data. And here it is in real terms. And you can see Erie income actually rose, even after adjusting for inflation in the most recent year. All right, we're not Gainesville, but then we're not Laredo either, who lost almost 6% of their real income in 1 year. So one of our rallying cries is, hey, at least we're not Laredo, you know? So. In this one, we actually have a map to show you within the metro area, the census tracts. So this one is a little unusual, and we've got that. But then if you go farther down, we've added a lot of information. And when I went to the Vital Signs site, I would say, well, how are you measuring these things? What's included, what's not included? And we've looked at websites all around the country, and very few do this. We thought it's important. Full disclosure, here's what this is. So what is this median income? Well, you remember median from your stats classes in school, but what exactly is included? It's median household income. Well, here, in a sentence or two, we tell you what this indicator is. Then we tell you why we think it's important. The committee chose to include this rather than the other thousands that could have been in here. Why do we think it's important? Sometimes it's immediately obvious. Others, it's not so clear-cut. Then we've got the details. So if you really want to know about the indicator, here we've got things that we've taken from the horse's mouth to explain things. What is included and what's not included. If that's not enough, you get down into the nitty-gritty details. Here you can go to the original website where it really lays out all the detail that the data crunchers really want, just what is and what's not in there. Does this indicator have any subcategories? Some do, some don't. What about the peer areas for this indicator? This one has the 13 standard peers. Some other ones will have others, and it'll tell you about that. How often does this come out? This is annual data. What's the source? So here again, you've got the horse's mouth. You can go directly to the source and see that we're not just making all this stuff up. So if you get on here and you see numbers, you go, that can't be right. You can go double check and see if we screwed something up. If we did, give us a call. Let us know, all right, politely. Don't go to the press, okay? Jim, send those calls to me, okay? But hopefully you'll find everything is good. And then in some cases, we've got other related data. So if we know other sources of data, and this is what you see for every indicator on the site, all right? So you can go into as much detail as you want. For most people, I think will want to come and look at the graphs, get some idea, and move on. But it's there in detail if you want to go into greater detail. All right. You can see we've got per capita income as well as median household, transfer payments, and sources of income. What kind of income do we have? Weekly wages and annual pay. Just into this income category. We've got an employment category as well. Let's just click on one here. If we go to the unemployment rate, here we've got monthly data going back to 1990. And Mike mentioned that we've got some interactive graphs. This is one of our interactive graphs, all right? And so what we've got here is Erie, the US, PA, and the peer areas. You'll notice, though, that they're listed over here. And again, we've got our colors. But what I can do is by clicking on those, I can take those other areas off. So here's Erie's story since 1990. Oh, look at this. You want to know what the lowest unemployment rate was before the recession? You can see it. What was the highest? Well, we go up here and we find, 10.1% was as high as we got. These are seasonally adjusted unemployment rates. And we can see exactly what the rate is, the most recent data that we have up here. So you can get the actual data real quickly from that. Another interesting thing is, if I click on this site and highlight it, I click on the site and highlight it, it will zoom in on it, okay? And then we can back out a little bit. We reset the zoom, but I can go here, and if you're doing this on a tablet, you can actually pinch it, and it will zoom in and look at it like this, okay? I can go back then and add these other indicators. So here's Erie in the U.S., and we see that, oh, Erie's unemployment rate was always higher than the U.S., but during this part of the recession, we were lower. It helps tell that story. Was that unique to us? Well, let's see what PA's story is. And we can see over here, clicking on Pennsylvania, they were usually below Erie's number, okay? We can also add in the peers and the U.S. So again, some of our graphs are interactive. We want to make all of the graphs interactive. This takes a bit of time to do, though. But we've got about 40 that are interactive at this point. So it gives you an idea of what to expect. Here's our cross-sectional graph, and you can see our unemployment rate is down to 5.5% in July, but still it was above PA and the U.S. and the peer areas. Again, Spartanburg at this point, not Spartansburg, but Spartanburg, South Carolina, had a higher rate than we do. So you can get an idea where we fall compared to the other places, okay? So there's just a little bit about econ. We also have in here a lot of poverty statistics, broken down by education, by race, by age. Housing statistics, housing affordability in Erie, and percentage home ownership, cost of living here compared to other places, and information in the technology section on internet access in the local area. So that's just under the economy section. So let's move along. Let's go over here to, let's do community and civic. Under community and civic, we've got these areas: volunteerism, crime, voter participation, and social capital. Some it's easier to get the data, some it's harder. So for example, under social capital, those are kind of special event surveys that were done. So we don't have them quite as frequently, but other ones we gather them as quickly, as often as we can. So if we take a look at crime, offenses committed and arrests made, we get this information. Total offenses committed, arrest, and a percentage of crimes resulting in an arrest. We see here a graph that looks like this. Crime in Erie. Good news, crime rates are down, all right? Break it down by category. We've got property crime and violent crime. These are the really nasty ones, and they're a lot lower than the property crime. But you see that the total crime rate tends to follow the property crime rates, all right? If we compare ourselves to other places around the country, now we start to see something interesting, because the Erie numbers, have come down some in a couple recent years, but they've been up a bit since 2005. As opposed to the national numbers, where they've been consistently down. Well, is that violent crime or property crimes? Well, we see actually that, surprisingly to me at least, violent crimes are down in the local area, all right? Which is we're not what we expect to see, but these are what the data, the actual data, are telling us. And property crimes went up, but they're down too. We're aware of more crimes. How do we compare to other places? What we see is that we're higher than our peers, but we're below the national average still in terms of total crime. But this doesn't fit with what we expect. So let's go back up and look at, we've got here crimes by category. So if we do that, we've got some different data. We're mixing data from PA sources and from the FBI statistics in this to get the detail. And so as we go down the line, we can see here's our crimes in Erie County. By the way, when I say Erie, we're talking the Erie metro area, so it's Erie County. And we see the crime rates that we've got. And the ones that bother us most are down here at pretty low numbers. Murder and non-negligent manslaughter, 4.3 per 100,000 residents in 2014. These are very recent data. Rape crimes, and so on. They're relatively small. Most crimes are larceny, assaults, and so on. All right? How does that compare, though? Here's where we get our headlines from. Look at weapons crimes. And what we're seeing is that weapons crimes are up dramatically in the local area. And we have data for PA here that didn't happen statewide. There's something going on in Erie with weapons crimes that's new to us, unfortunately, something that we need to address. Murder, non-negligent manslaughter. We saw a rising pattern of this. Notice 2007. That's about when the recession started nationwide. So we start to get some ideas about patterns that we can start asking about. Now, it dropped off into 2013, but then we've seen a jump again in 2014. So what this website does is it prompts you to start asking some questions, and some important questions. That's what we think this website should be doing. Violent crimes, let's keep it in perspective. How are we doing in terms of violent crimes? Well, compared to our peers, hey, we're doing pretty darn well. This is a pretty safe city. I moved here after 4 years in Detroit. I couldn't believe how much nicer this place was, all right? But again, it's been up, but still, we're a lot lower than our peers, than statewide, than the nation. Property crimes, again, we're higher than PA on property crimes, but lower than the nation. Aggravated assault, we picked a few categories. Burglary, lock your doors at night, folks, all right? This is what it tells you, larceny and thefts. So we've got a lot of data up here that you can take a look at. Let's move on to cultural vitality. Here we've got culture and the arts. We've got a number of indicators. A little tougher to get some of the data here. Let's take a look at just a few of them. Presence of the arts and cultural activities. And we've got the number of arts establishments in the local area. We've got the amount of employment in arts, entertainment, and recreation establishments in the local area. You can see what's going on there. And again, we compare ourselves to other places. So in terms of employment, we're seeing that we've got a greater amount of employment, a greater number of jobs than quite a few of our other metro areas and the peers in terms of employment. Right? If we look at the percentage change in it, the numbers are not growing as fast as some of the other places are. If we come back up here, we've also got some information about, let's go back to this category, support of the arts. We can look at nonprofit arts contributions per capita. And what we see is that contributions per capita for arts are quite a bit lower in Erie County than they are nationwide. People don't dig quite as deep. And this new data that just got put up yesterday, we got 2013 data on this, how we compare to other places. So Spartanburg is donating, people there are donating a lot more to the arts than we are in Erie. But again, in Laredo, it's about $4 a person, all right? So we're not Laredo. But again, we're not doing as well as we might in this category, and we're lower than the national average. So you can start to get some feel for that. Let's move on to the education category. We've got a lot of data in the education category, many things here. Let's start off with student achievement. And one of the indicators we've got here is graduation rates. And here's what we see with graduation rates. These are what they call 4-year cohort graduation rates. Of people who started together, how many graduated in 4 years from high school? Again, the data are there. These are from Pennsylvania Department of Education. And you can see the good news. The red line is Erie. We're higher than the state. We're higher than the nation on this. The numbers are down a little bit most recently, but they're still up way up in the upper 80% numbers. Then we can look at it, in this case, we've got it by school district. So this is one of the places where we switch to a different set of peers. These are data at the state level. And so we've got all 13 school districts in the local area. General McLean is on top. Rick Scoletta's here. Rick, take a bow. Okay. General McLean won the graduation rate derby here. Here's Erie County overall. We've calculated an average graduation rate, a weighted average. And so most of our school districts are doing better. Erie City is down at the bottom, which probably is not a surprise. There's some different things going on in the city than in other places in terms of, well, that's one of the questions. Why? Right? And some of the other factors that we can look at on Erie Vital Signs, I think, will help explain that a little bit. One of the factors we've got here is, let's say we're under education. I want to look at early childhood education. And here we've got information about program participation rates in Erie County on early childhood education. And what you see is that our rates are significantly higher than the Pennsylvania rates are, which is good news. Here's participation by program, the major programs on early childhood participation. We've got that listed here. But then we also have here risk factors. So these are factors that the literature indicates are risk factors for children not doing well. Especially at early childhood, things that we can step in. And what we see here is we're comparing Erie with PA. Again, Erie is red, PA is green. And what we see is that in all of these risk factors, Erie kids face bigger risks for non-success, for problems in their lives, all the way down the line. And so the good news is that we're doing a good job of getting those kids into early childhood education, which can make such a difference in their lives. The literature shows that very clearly. And so we've got, again, an indication that we have a potential serious problem here, but that we're doing some things right, and we need to keep doing that. So some of the education categories will show you those kinds of things. If we go back up to the top here, you can see we've got educational attainment. We have here, again, besides the median, we've got educational attainment Percentage of people who are completing high school as opposed to college, some high school, some college, whatever. We've got that broken down by school district. I'm sorry, we've got the peers here for that. We also have under education, we've got post-secondary activity. What are kids planning to do after they graduate? And again, we compare here to Pennsylvania, and we can see that, how many are not going on to any post-secondary, a bigger percentage in Erie than nationwide. We can look at the percent that are college-bound, and we see some statistics here that are not so wonderful in Erie County. And then we've got the data broken down by school district again. So what percentage of kids from these school districts are planning to go to college or some kind of post-secondary education? And we see that Union City and Corry are at the bottom of the group here. Fairview and General McLean are at the top here. And how Erie County compares with PA, a little bit lower. All right? So we've got some issues here. Everybody lives in the school district and pays taxes there, right? This will help you see what's going on. One of the other interesting things we have here is we have educational spending. So we've got spending by average spending per student in all the school districts across the county. And so you can take a look at where your school district falls. And so there's information on those kind of things. Let's move on to environment. We've got these categories. Almost all the indicators in the environment category are new this time around. And so we've nailed down air quality, water quality. Water quality at this point is beaches. We're still working on a good indicator for drinking water quality. Transportation. If we look at transportation, here's average commute times in Erie County. And boy, we're right at the top here. Shortest commute times of all of the metro areas by far. That's one of the good news graphs that we've got here. We also have information on what percentage of people are doing public transit in the local area. Again, we can compare ourselves to those kinds of things. One of the new indicators was air quality. And again, we've got time series graphs here. The green line is the percentage of days that are officially good air quality according to the air quality index that the EPA specifies. And we see very clearly, these numbers go all the way back to 1980. We see our percentage of good days has been increasing consistently. Here's moderate. They've stayed about the same, gone up a little. Here, the blue ones are days when it's unhealthy for sensitive people, for people who have asthma, other respiratory problems. And the red ones are the days when it's unhealthy for everybody. All right? There's another category called very unhealthy that doesn't even show up here. The last time we had one of those in Erie County was 1988. And so that red line's been going down, the green line's been going up. Air quality has been rising in the local area. That's the good news. How are we doing compared to our peers? Oh, different story. Our peers have had higher percentages of good quality, good air quality days than we have. So although we're getting better, we still got some room to improve. All right, what else do we want to look at here? Let's go to health. This is another major category here. The health subcommittee has been one of the most active committees. Melissa Lyons chairs that. Thank you, Melissa. I know she was here today. And Val did a lot of the data work, did all the hard work, right, Val? So that was you. We've got a lot of information on this side. Let's just pick a couple to look at here. Here are the families. We've broken it down into health behaviors and disease prevention, availability and utilization of healthcare services, and chronic disease and disease management. Under health behaviors, we've got a long list of types of data, various indicators. And let's just take a quick look at, let's say, births to mothers under 18. Here's what the pattern looks like. And again, these are mostly state data, so we've got PA and Erie to compare to, and we're seeing is that our teenage birth rates are falling. That's the good news. We're still higher than PA, though. When we compare ourselves to the peer areas, again, we've got a relatively high one. It's down to about 2.8% of all live births are to mothers under 18. But it's down from where it used to be. You can see it used to be up around 4.5, got up as high as 5 in 2007. There are a bunch of other ones here as well. We can look at overweight or obese kids, and wow, we've got a problem here, okay? That number jumps so much, it almost looks suspicious, all right? But it says that we've got some things going on with obesity with our kids that we need to take a closer look at. There's information on smokers, on drinkers, binge drinking, you know, which place... That's a negative thing, binge drinking, just so everybody knows, okay? Anyway, but we've got a number of health indicators like that. If we look at chronic disease and disease management, we've got leading causes of death. So if you're in a good mood and you want to bring yourself down, we've got the data for you. And again, but even so, it's good news. You see the red lines, you see the green lines here, Erie and PA, and we're seeing is that the mortality rate from all causes has been falling. Yeah, we've had an upturn a little bit lately, but for the most part, this just happened since Donald Trump came on TV. I'm sorry. That was totally gratuitous. Remove that from the tape, all right? But heart disease rates, down. Cancer rates, down. Stroke rates, down. All right, so we've got information like that. We've got more out here as well. Regional cooperation, the seventh category, the one we haven't talked about. This one is very different at this point. Instead of having a data-rich site at this point, what we've got is information about the different government areas and programs. And so we've got live links to the different municipalities throughout. We've got the authorities, if you want to see all the authorities that are out here in the local area, where they're here, with links when it's possible. Links to the school districts, intergovernmental agencies, the link for the county itself. So a lot of information up here. This area, like all the others, will probably be growing and changing through time. We're looking at that area specifically because it is so different from the others. So there's just a quick overview of all the stuff that's out there. As of last night, there were over 35,000 data points up on here that you can see on the graphs. This website is not done. We are adding things, we're changing things as we go. The committees will be meeting more to talk about what's missing. If you've got some ideas about things that you think is a crucial one. Again, it has to be a good indicator. It has to be something that will be tracked through time, not a one-time study. It has to be something that lets us compare to other places, not something that's just unique to Erie. We'd like to have some other places to benchmark against. We're interested in hearing about those kinds of things. The point, I think, of all this is we hope to give you a little taste, like an appetizer, and hope you'll come back and take a look at it. If you want to spend a little time here, you can really get sucked into this because there's so much interesting and useful data. And the question to ask is, I wonder why? What's causing this? And that leads to, so what can we do about it? And that's where we're going to be going. What Ken and I are going to be doing here is, besides adding more data and changing some things and improving things, is we're going to start looking at some of these relationships. So for example, we know poverty rates are higher in Erie, but that's in the economy side. On the education side, we've got data on educational attainment. And what you see very quickly is that our percentage of people with bachelor's degrees or higher is lower than national averages. Gee, I wonder if there's a connection there, between poverty rates. We have unemployment rates, and the unemployment rates are broken down by education. But they're also broken down by age. And what you find out pretty quickly is that poverty in the local area is not a problem of senior citizens, it's a problem of the young. It's the kids and under 18 that have serious poverty problems. So the next question is that unique to us, or is that something that is the same everywhere? And we've got the data here to show you that. And what you find is it's pretty much the same everywhere, all right? But if you look at the villages in Florida, you find that the average age in the villages in Florida is way up in the 60s. Right? We've got information that we're going to be talking about here on average age, things like this. So you've got a lot of information here that can help you better understand what's going on with Erie. And hopefully you can start to see some connections. Ken and I are going to be doing some research. Guys, research assistants, gear up. There's more to come. Just when you thought you were done, right, Alyssa and folks? So there's more to come. There's no doubt about it. So we've got more work to do, but hopefully this is where we draw the line right now and say, here it is, there's a lot of fun stuff out there, go play with it. So we hope you'll do that. One crucial thing I'll mention to you is on the homepage for Erie Vital Signs, right up here in the upper right corner, e-newsletter. If you click on that, you can sign up, give us your name and email, and you will get the updates. And what we'll be doing is we'll be sending our special reports out. We're doing, about probably another 3 or 4 of those the rest of this year. And we also will be doing data updates now that we've got this set up. So when new interesting things out, very quick update kinds of things that we'll send you. We won't spam, you won't spam them, right, Mike? No, they won't, he won't spam you. But you'll be getting some useful information from it. We encourage you to go ahead and sign up. So that's where we are. Let me turn it back over here to Mike at this point, who will talk about, so now what? What do we do with it? Thanks very much.
Wow, I hate to follow Jim Curry at the podium. That was terrific, thank you very much. And the research assistants way up there, you guys should sit down here, man. That's a great job, thank you so much. So thanks for the great overview of the new and improved Erie Vital Signs website. We're very, very happy to partner with you, the Black School of Business, Economic Research Institute, on this important project. You've helped us build a really wonderful tool for the community, and we look forward to working with you more on this project as we go forward. I'd also like to thank George Espy, our Vice President for Community Impact, for his extraordinary leadership on this project. Give him a round of applause. Couldn't have done it without you. And of course, nothing could be accomplished without a Community Foundation Board of Trustees that supports the vision of Erie Vital Signs. So, you've seen a nice website and you have some understanding of the improvements, but if you leave here today with nothing more than an impression that we've created a cool new website, we will have failed to convey our most important message. We will have failed to convey the vision of Erie Vital Signs supported by our Board of Trustees. And that vision is this: Erie Vital Signs is not an end in itself, it's a means to an end. Erie Vital Signs is a tool for building something, and that something is a more vital Erie. Erie Vital Signs uses objective data to measure the vitality of our community, to highlight the progress we've made in recent past, to document where we are now, and to suggest where we might need to concentrate our efforts going forward. Vital Signs gives us easily accessible and unbiased data, an unbiased snapshot of the region. It identifies trends and issues affecting the quality of life in our area, the progress we should be proud of, and the challenges that we need to address. All this is designed to create a starting place for a community conversation, a starting place that we hope will become a catalyst to involve the community in deciding where to focus our attention and where to focus resources to have the greatest possible impact. So here's how your community foundation plans to address the challenges identified by Erie Vital Signs, and how we hope you will partner with us. First, with the help of our partners at Erie, we'll ensure the website is continually updated and refreshed, and we'll add indicators as our expert committees indicate. Next, as you heard, we'll regularly push out all this information and data, be it encouraging or challenging, to anyone who's interested. So please, I hope you do sign up on the website. Finally, and most importantly, we'll invite the entire community to participate in decisions about where to best invest our time and resources to achieve maximum impact. Now, to accomplish this last point, we plan to invite many of you and others to an Erie Vital Signs community conference or summit, whatever you want to call it, early next year. At this meeting, our topical experts will help us review all that data and all the challenges presented by Erie Vital Signs, and we'll then seek consensus on a limited number of community priorities where significant investments are likely to achieve the greatest social return. Now, to address the challenges and trends in Erie Vital Signs, our board challenges us to invest grant dollars as creatively and as cooperatively as possible. They also challenge us to support projects having the most positive impact on the quality of life in Erie County. So accordingly, we'll be using the conference results to help shape our future Shaping Tomorrow requests for proposals that are issued by the Erie Community Foundation. So, and to maximize the impact of that, we also hope other local funding sources, donors, grant makers, and others join us in this effort. Now, philanthropy alone, no matter its size, can't possibly reverse every negative trend or take advantage of every emerging opportunity identified by Erie Vital Signs. To do this, we'll need the continued involvement and support of the entire community. We'll need the continued active engagement and support of leaders gathered in this room. You were invited here today because you are community leaders. We'll need your help in creating a more vital Erie for all of us. So today is not the end of anything. We've launched a new website, but it's the so what question. The so what question is, what are we going to do with it? We're going to be convening the community, asking your input on priority topics that the Community Foundation can issue an RFP around, and then we'll be asking other funders to join us. So that's the news, and that's what we hope you take away from this. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in a process that we've been working on for quite some time, a process to help philanthropy achieve its maximum possible impact, a process to build a better, more vital Erie for generations to come.